So I have a little bit of a dilemma when it comes to building my bag for the 2024 disc golf season. There are so many good, like straight to understable fairway drivers on the market right now that I don't know which one I should choose. I probably have room for 2 different molds in my bag, but in a perfect world, I have one mold that I really love that I can bag in different plastics. We've got 3 options that we're going to be working with today, and I want you guys to help me pick the first one that's going to go into the bag. The first disc that we're going to be talking about is the Innovamade FDs. So these are old Discmania Innovamade FDs. We've got a Minuteman Classic. This is the old Jackal Run. It just has a tournament stamp on it. But it's a nice, very glidey, beadless fairway driver that goes very straight, but can also handle a lot of torque as well. It can be thrown very hard and can also be carried in various plastics. So this is a pre-Nate Perkins Night Strike Color Glow FD with the question mark stamp on it. Very cool. This guy, the Jackal Run, was always known as one of the most overstable or stable runs of FD. So this guy pairs really well with the Color Glow, which was always known as one of the more understable runs of FD. And we're gonna throw everything so you guys can see how everything flies, but I'm gonna go over 2 other fairway drivers that are competing for that kind of straight to flippy-ish fairway driver slot for the season. And yeah, we'll throw these guys and then we'll go over the other 2 molds. So this is the flippier of the 2 FDs. And this is a disc I have a lot of experience throwing. It just flips up, goes nice and straight. And yeah, it's just a really solid disc. You can't beat that flight. That's just the quintessential dead straight FD flight. And then this Jackal Run FD is substantially more stable than that. I threw that Jackal Run with a bit more height, but I threw it a lot harder and it had no ideas about flipping up. Like, that thing is very stable in comparison to the Color Glow. So that's 1 point for the FD because I can bag those 2 different runs and get 2 very different flights, but always have that same comfortable feel in my hand. Now, the second disc I want to go over is the new Royal Brave from Latitude 64. Very similar, domey, understable fairway driver. Again, beadless. I think for the shot shape that I'm looking for, I think the beadless option makes more sense because for this slot, I don't want something with a nose bead or a bead that's going to add any additional drag and fade to the flight. I want something that's just going to push straight for as long as possible and then have as little fade at the end as possible. So we're looking for that straight fairway driver. Now the green one is a little bit flippier than the blue one. So again, this is a point for Latitude 64 as well. I can bag 2 different colors and get 2 different flights. So you can see getting a very similar flight to that Color Glow FD. These Braves go really far, very straight, great gap hitting discs. And then I can bag the 2 different colors and get 2 different flights. So this blue one is less stable than the green one. Oh, that was bad. But anyway, you guys get the idea. Latitude 64 Royal Brave, another absolute winner for that straight fairway driver slot. But is it better than the old Innovamade FDs? I don't actually know. Now the last disc I want to talk about is the Loft Discs Titanium. This is going to be the most stable disc of the discs that we're talking about today. The flight numbers are 7.5 minus 2.1. Probably flies more like a 7.5 minus 1.1. As it continues to beat in, it will become more understable. What I love about this disc is the really, really high level of plastic quality and the very smooth edges. All Loft discs have nice smooth edges, super premium plastic, and they just feel really good in the hand. And the only thing holding this disc back for me right now is it just doesn't go as straight as I would like it to. As you saw from that first FD throw and the first Brave throw, those discs really just have forward penetrating action through the entire flight. This guy will have a little bit more fade unless I really throw it super hard. So going straight for most of the flight, you can see it's got a nice big swing at the end of the flight. Then we've got one more, same color, From what I found, these guys all pretty much fly the same. So I'll try and throw a similar kind of line. So if you really get over on it, you can force the turn, as you saw there. Kind of wrenched over on it a bit. But I really love the flight of the titanium as well. So when it comes to the Brave, the titanium, and the FD, I want to know which one you guys think I should have in my bag for the 2024 disc golf season. And there's a few more pros and cons that I'm dealing with when it comes to choosing a fairway driver for the season. Again, not all those discs are easily replaceable. So if I lose my Jackal run, then I'm not going to be able to get a new Discmania FD that has that exact same flight to it. Maybe I can replicate the flight, but I definitely won't be able to replicate the feel. If you know, you know, Innova made Discmania discs were of the most premium quality, and the only thing that was holding the brand back in those days was there was just a very limited supply, which is why the Discmania collector's market is so crazy. Even Eagle McMahon, Casey White, all the longtime Discmania players, all the way up until the 2023 season, have still been bagging Innova-made Discmania in their bag, and that's just because those runs were simply just better. And I've got a few other molds here that are also sort of in the conversation, but the three I've already mentioned are certainly the top three. I'm not counting out completely the Crave. I like the Crave because I know I can bag it in multiple different weights and plastics and get the flights that I'm looking for. So I'll also throw the Plasma Crave as well as the Cosmic Neutron Crave. And these were two discs that the few tournaments I did play, I leaned into the Crave very heavily on backhand and for forehand. And I really had a fun time throwing these two guys, you know, at the disc golf tournaments that I did actually attend. I was leaning on these quite a bit, especially when it came to wooded disc golf. So let's see how these guys fly too, just so you can see. Plasma Crave, I mean, it's an undefeated disc. The Crave has always been good and it will always be good, but it is a little bit slower and I don't think it carries quite as far as some of these other molds. We also have the Cosmic Neutron, which is significantly more stable. So I can force it over a little bit, as you can see. Plenty of stability to still fight at the end. So that's huge points for the Crave because I know I can bag it. I can go buy two Craves today, one max weight and one 150 gram, and I'm gonna get two very different but very desirable flights. The next disc is one of my personal favorites. It's the Prodigy F5. The biggest problem is I've given away all my backups to some friends and family that like the F5 more than I do, and they want to know if I still had some of these left. So I gave a bunch of these away, but I kept one for myself just because it's kind of a sentimental item that I got from a Will Schustrick tournament back in 2019. But the F5, a little bit more understable than some of the other molds on this list. The F5 might be the farthest flying disc on this list. They absolutely crush, but it's not always reliable. Into a headwind, I could never really throw that shot. The last mold that I want to talk about is the Innova Leopard. The Innova Leopard is a disc that I feel like is very misunderstood. It's a lot more stable than people give it credit for, and it's another disc that I've really enjoyed throwing this year. I've been bagging one in Champion plastic and in Star plastic. They both fly the exact same as this, so I'll show you guys how this guy flies as well. You can see, very straight flight, but still a considerable fade at the end. So those are some of the other discs that I am considering, but my top three are definitely the FD, the Brave, and the Titanium. So I'll throw all those one more time as well, and then we can wrap up the video. But I want to hear what you guys think. Not only which one I should bag, but why. And we'll start right back off from the top, starting off with the FDs, the Color Glow FD coming out first. I love how long it pushes on Anheuser nose down before it fades. That's where you're getting most of your distance, is that point where the disc is on high speed turn. Once it starts fading and the nose comes up, it really starts to slow down. So I love how that FD will kind of sit on that anhyzer through most of the flight. And then we've got the Jackal. I really wrenched over on that one. Jackal's just so much more stable than the Glow one. And then we've got the Braves. You guys saw, absolute gems. I love that I can just lean into my natural slight hyzer release, get that perfect dead straight hyzer flip flight that pretty much stays straight the entire way. Then we've got the Blue Guy. And really, that's the flight that I'm really loving the most. I'm looking for the disc that will effectively stay the straightest the longest in comparison to the rest. I threw the Gateway Element in a video a few days ago, and I was just simply shocked by how long that disc can actually hold and sit on a straight line for. And I want a fairway driver that flies the exact same as that, but just, you know, 50 to 75 feet farther than the Element. And now we'll throw the Titaniums one last time. But when you compare it to the Brave, it's got a little bit more stable flight. So maybe the Titanium and the Brave could be my perfect 1-2 punch, but I don't know. That's where you guys need to come in and help me out. Because to get it to hold that turn, I've really got to wrench over on it. And that's not really the flight I'm looking for. The Brave feels a lot more natural to me. But again, I'm asking you guys for help. Which disc should I bag through the 2024 season when it comes to my fairway driver slot? We'll probably eventually do a part 2 when I try to decide my more T-bird style flight. Something with a nose bead, something with a little bit more fade on it, and something for headwinds and that kind of shot. But of the straight fairway drivers I threw today, let me know in the comment section down below which one should go in my bag. You guys are watching Iceberg TV, and take care.